My mother disappeared on a Tuesday morning and left behind a grocery list that broke me more than anything else ever did. I was 11 years old. She had texted me that morning about my math test, told me to double check my work before turning it in, told me she loved me. Then she drove to work and never arrived. The first day felt like a misunderstanding. Phones die, cars break down, people get delayed. My father called her office 4 times, and each time they told him she had not come in. By evening, there were 2 police officers sitting in our living room asking questions in careful, quiet voices that made everything feel more serious than I wanted it to be. By day 3, strangers were calling our house. By day 7, a reporter left a card in our mailbox. By day 14, the neighbors stopped saying she would be home soon and started saying they were praying for us. I did not understand then why that shift felt so much worse. I understand it now. For a few weeks, food arrived. Casseroles, lasagnas, foil-covered trays left on the porch. Our refrigerator had never been so full, and every single meal tasted wrong because she was not there at the table making fun of my father for overcooking the pasta. Then the food stopped coming. The phone calls thinned out, the world moved on in the way that worlds do, and we stayed exactly where we were. My father stopped sleeping. I would hear him at 2 in the morning walking from room to room, checking the locks, checking the windows. I never asked him why. I think I already knew. About 2 months after she vanished, I came downstairs on a Friday night and found him at the kitchen table surrounded by papers from the private investigator he had hired with money we did not really have. He looked like a person who had forgotten what rest felt like. I checked the kitchen. There was almost nothing left. 1 can of tomato soup, half a sleeve of crackers. I asked if he was hungry. He stared at the papers for a moment and then said, "Sure, I made the soup." I set 2 bowls on the table and sat across from him. Neither of us spoke. The clock on the wall was the only sound. He stared at the empty chair beside him, the one no one had touched in weeks, the one that still had a cardigan draped over the back because that was how she had left it. I took a spoonful. It tasted mostly like salt. Then my father said quietly that she had hated tomato soup. I looked up. He said she used to describe it as someone blending ketchup and disappointment. It was such a specific thing to say, so completely like her, that I laughed for the first time in 2 months. He laughed too. Then we were both crying. Then he reached into his pocket. He said he had found something that day when the detectives finally returned her car. He unfolded a receipt from her center console. On the back, in her handwriting, were 3 words: "Love you both." I could not speak. He smoothed the paper flat on the table. Then he said there was more written underneath. He turned it toward me. A grocery list she had started before leaving for work that morning. Milk, bread, the cereal I liked. Nothing important, nothing urgent. Just the ordinary proof that when she walked out that door, she fully expected to walk back in. That was the thing that finally broke me open. Not the police, not the reporters, not the prayers. A grocery list written by someone who was already planning dinner. The soup went cold. Neither of us finished it. 4 years later, they found her car at the bottom of a ravine off a mountain road. A drunk driver had forced her off the edge. It had taken that long for anyone to find it. We finally had an answer. People told us that closure would help. And maybe it did. In some ways I cannot fully measure. But here's what I carry and cannot put down. She wrote "Love you both" on a receipt she tucked into a console. Not as a farewell, not as a message she meant to leave. Just a thought, mid-errand, normal as breathing. She was never trying to say goodbye. She just loved us. On an ordinary Tuesday, on the way to work. That is the part I do not know how to grieve.